I'm PMSing and I just want to go get a Coke with some salty peanuts in it and stuff my face into a bag of Five Guys French fries with mayonnaise, then I'm going to do it with some kimchi, fresh green onion, fresh pear and tangerine, anchovies. This butter lettuce will be for sort of like lettuce wrap things, fresh vegetables, and the white rice. Hello and welcome. Today I thought that I would make a video that's based around my health, both daily and some of the things that I've dealt with in the past, and then show you a typical day of eating for me, showing all the food and how I prepare it. I don't actually eat in this video, so there will be no food eating sounds or anything like that. If you would like a video like that, just comment below and I'm sure I can do it in the future. But first I want to talk about my health, and then I'll go into showing you the food that I ate in a day. And I'm going to start by saying that I do place great value on health, and I enjoy being fit and active. I just find that it feels good, it makes me happy, it relieves stress. And for several years, I was not able to work out at all because I was dealing with, I didn't know it at the time, but I was dealing with celiac disease. And I did not know I had it. So, of course, it continued to progress and get worse. And I could not do anything, hardly, much less work out. And I've always been into fitness. When I was younger in high school, I did powerlifting, track, cross country, volleyball. I was terrible at that though. I have no coordination. And I did everything. Some of that was I just wanted to be out of the house, but I suppose that's a different story. But I was actually pretty good at a few of those things. Only because I was willing to work hard. I have no natural athletic talent whatsoever. But I've always enjoyed it. It makes me feel good. And when I was going through the illness, it started out very slowly. I started experiencing noticeable symptoms about a year after I had my child. And this was 7 years ago. And at first, I didn't think it was any big deal. I thought, well, I've always been anemic. Most pale people are, and I'm chasing around a little one, so that's probably why I'm tired and not feeling great. So I didn't really think anything of it. I don't like to complain. which is, I don't think that's a good thing. I think sometimes you need to complain and you need to find out what's wrong. But so I kept blowing it off, and years went by and it got worse. And I think I was living in Texas all this time. And then I had to move to Philadelphia. And this was about, let me see, 5 years ago, maybe 6, I'm not real sure, but at that time it had progressed to the point of every day was miserable. I had pain and sickness all day, every day, and some of the symptoms were just horrible. And the stomach pain was like unbearable. That wasn't every day, but it was most days. And when I say it was unbearable, it really was. I'm no stranger to pain. When I had my child, I gave birth in a cold bathtub with no medicine at all. So I know pain, and when I say something was painful, it really was. It was very painful. And I knew at that point that something wasn't right. This wasn't normal. And I was told that I had IBS. Well, that would explain maybe the stomach pain a little bit, but it didn't explain why I was always sick. Always sick. I lost a bunch of weight. I didn't look healthy. I didn't feel healthy. And because I had to stay in bed a lot, and I could never, in my opinion, feel useful. I like to stay busy. I like to do things. I like to live life. And I couldn't do that. I was getting depressed, and I was really low and in a dark place. I knew that wasn't just IBS. So I was trying to figure out what exactly was wrong with me, because I knew there was something. And this is just a minor thing, but I lost everything. Like I lost all my muscle, and I'd always been like really fit. I just looked horrible. I think I lost everything. I was bone thin. I had no muscle. I was really not the good kind of pale, the sick kind of pale, and just really unhappy. I remember one time I was walking through Target, and just going anywhere was difficult. Doing anything was difficult. I had to do my daily duties, but everything was difficult. And I was just trying to hurry up and get, I think it was some Valentine's or something. And this family was behind me. And I think the son, I'm guessing it was a mother, her husband, and their son, who was like a teenager. I could hear them. He was telling his mom, like, oh, she's hot. Look at her. I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't mind that. And then I heard the mom say, ew, are you kidding me? She looks disgusting. She's so skinny. And normally, I don't care what other people think. The way I grew up, you would have to say a lot to hurt me. You would have to really, I just don't care what people think. I have like very thick skin, if you will. I'm still human. I still have feelings, but as far as what strangers think, I don't usually care, but because I was in such a dark, depressed state, and I was quite self-conscious of the way I looked. I know I didn't look healthy. I probably did look gross. But that comment really affected me more than it ever would now or before that. And this happened several times. It wasn't just an isolated incident, but that's when I really got depressed, and I knew I had to find something. I had to figure out what was wrong with me, even if I had to figure it out myself. So, a family member brought up, she told me, hey, I was watching The View and I saw that Elizabeth Hasselbeck has celiac disease, and her symptoms sound a lot like yours. Maybe you should look into it. I was like, oh, I don't want to watch The View. But I'll go and Google and look up the symptoms and ask the doctor about it. And I did. And at that point, the doctor told me, well, there's a blood test, there's a biopsy where you'll have to be put to sleep, or the easiest and most simple way is to simply go off of gluten for several weeks, and if you notice any improvement, I'd say that's a good start, and we'll go from there. It's a lot less invasive, and the tests aren't always very accurate to whether you have it or not. So I was like, well, I wouldn't call it simple, but that's a lot more simple than a surgery. So I did, and within 4 weeks, I noticed a great improvement. I noticed an improvement, of course, in the way I feel. I wasn't as depressed, and that went away pretty quickly. That was like the first symptom to get better, and which I didn't expect. I thought because I couldn't, in my opinion, be useful and live my life, that I would remain depressed until I was able to, but that was actually the first symptom to leave. Then I started to be able to, little things like not have a headache every day, and not have daily stomach pain. And so, of course, after talking to the doctor, we figured out that's what I have. I have celiac disease. And along with that comes a bunch of symptoms, including anemia and IBS and different things like that aren't so bad on their own, but combined with everything else, I knew I needed to change my whole diet. I could no longer eat anything with gluten in it ever again, which, if it helped me feel better, I was never tempted. I've never been tempted once. Not one time have I ever cheated, because I don't ever want to feel like that again. I don't care if I have to eat rocks for the rest of my life. I don't ever want to feel like that again. I don't have to eat rocks. There's plenty of good food that doesn't have wheat in it. But, so I started making changes, and I just got better and better over the course of, I would say I'm still getting better. So I hit at about maybe 3 months after I had gone off gluten, I hit sort of a wall. I was still getting better. My symptoms were constantly improving by the week, by the month. But I felt like I don't know why I thought this. Nobody ever told me this. In fact, everyone told me the opposite of this. But I thought that after I'd gone off it, that all my problems would be, or all my symptoms, I should say, would be healed and better. And I could go back to running and lifting weights and working out every day and feeling great. And that did not happen. In fact, it took a few years before I could feel almost normal again. I had forgotten what it felt like to feel normal. And I'm still healing. And it's an autoimmune disease, so I will always have good days and bad days. And that's fine. I had to come to terms with that. Just going off of gluten wasn't going to mean that I would be super healthy all of a sudden. And that's not what happened. And in fact, this last summer was the first time I had taken a trip and not been sick the whole time. I'm not including stomach problems. I'm just including, like, I didn't have a cold or something. When I get a cold, it turns into like this big production. It doesn't just go away, but I didn't have that for the first time, which I was really happy about, because then I could go visit my aunt who has some lung issues. So I couldn't, if I was sick, I wouldn't have been able to visit her because I wouldn't want to get her sick. And this is the first Christmas that I hadn't been sick the whole time in years. So I'm just now starting to be normal. And just now, this is 2016 is the first time in a long time, years, that I've been able to be active and work out with any sort of consistency. Which I'm super excited about, because I really miss that a lot. And so I'm excited for this year. And I think it's 2 weeks from now, or less than that actually. It's the third weekend in February. I'm running the Disney Princess Half Marathon, which I'm really excited about. I've tried to run it before, but I wasn't healthy enough yet, so that didn't go very well. But I did get a 3-week bout of bronchitis where I had to go on a couple of different antibiotics and some steroid, and I'm still getting over that. So, I'm still getting over it, so that's pretty much the entire month before the race. I haven't been able to run, so I don't, and I haven't been this sick in a long time, so I am not complaining. But I don't think my time is going to be very good. I think my goal at this point is to just finish and not really worry about being fast or anything like that. And I will be really ecstatic to just finish. To me, that will mean a lot. I can see myself being very emotional if I finish this race and do well. I finished the last one, but barely. I'm just really happy and ecstatic to be able to do it. And I know, and I'm not complaining about having celiac, because I am so grateful for having something that I can get back from. Because I know a lot of people, when they're that sick, they don't get the opportunity to get better. So I'm very grateful for that and very happy. And I am not complaining. I feel like I should put my story and symptoms and what I've gone through out there in case anybody else is going through the same thing. Then maybe you could learn from this. I'm not sure. But so now that I've finally, after the bronchitis, now I typically do 2 or 3 days in the gym with weights, and I lift heavy. I don't just do the cable machines. I lift very heavy, and I've got a small frame, so honestly, I can lift as heavy as I can, and I'm not ever going to get like huge unless I took steroids. So I lift weights. I do usually 2 lower body days and 1 upper body day because I don't have a lot of fat on my upper body, so it doesn't take much for the muscles to pop out there. And I like the way I look with 1 upper body day, and where all my fat goes is my butt and my thighs. So I do 2 lower body days because I feel like I can take that, and I like the way I look with a little extra work down there. And I also run usually 3 days a week. Nothing crazy. I don't do, other than training for the race, I typically do under 5 miles. I do typically 2 to 5 miles a few times a week, and I don't worry about time or anything like that. I do it because it makes me feel good and feel healthy, and I like that feeling. If you really wanted to, I could probably film like a workout and do like a soft spoken voiceover. I would have to go like to the gym in the middle of the night and carry around a camera and film myself, which I would feel weird doing, but if enough people really want to see that, then I don't mind doing that. Anyway, on to the typical way that I eat in a day. I typically try to stay away from processed foods and packaged foods and things like that. I like to cook my own food, and I get almost all my meat from a farm in Ocala, Florida, and they ship, from what I read on the website, they ship anywhere in Florida. And and they have these like bulk packages, and if you order from the bulk packages, then it's a lot cheaper than ordering each thing individually, and the shipping is free if you order a certain amount. So I place an order every 4 to 6 weeks, and that amount of meat will last me all that time. I usually do like the meat package, the chicken package, and then like a few extra things like chicken breast and maybe a couple extra steaks, things like that. And they also have eggs and milk and everything, but the only time I ever drank milk, like from a cow milk, was when I lived in Philadelphia. I was able to get raw milk from an Amish farm, and that's the only time I drank regular milk. Now I drink cashew milk or almond milk. Anything as long as it's not soy milk, then it's fine with me. I'm not that picky. So, I'm not a super health nut, although I do try to eat healthy every day because I do appreciate any health that I have. I appreciate it. But I don't count calories or anything like that. I just kind of eat. As long as I'm eating enough fiber and enough fat and enough protein, then I feel satisfied to where I don't ever crave like junk food. But if I'm PMSing and I just want to go get a Coke with some salty peanuts in it and stuff my face into a bag of Five Guys French fries with mayonnaise, then I'm going to do it. I'm human. If I want something really salty and fatty, I'm just going to go have it. And usually, as long as it's not all day every day, it's not a big issue. But typically daily, I don't do that. I don't feel the need. I think just figuring out the healthiest way of eating or anything like that really just has to be up to you and what works for you, because everybody's different. There are entire countries that drink lots of milk and lots of dairy products and lots of meats and cheeses, and they have statistically some of the healthiest people in the world. There are tribes in Alaska that survive predominantly off of very, very high fat diet with very little fruits or vegetables, if any at all, and statistically they're extremely healthy. So while that may not work for everyone, you just have to figure out what works for you. And I am in no way claiming to know what's best for everyone. I think anybody that knows a lot about anything knows enough to know that they don't know everything. And I don't know everything. I just know what works for me. So, if you're ready, I will continue on to the what I eat in a day part of the video. And I'll show you all the food that I eat. And I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, just feel free to comment below. Okay. Bye. Alright, for breakfast this morning I decided to have 2 egg whites, 1 whole egg, some salsa, and some fresh pineapple, as well as a pistachio protein shake. And I really like this breakfast. Gives me a good amount of energy from all the protein and the fat it contains. And I really love pineapple, so here I am adding 1 whole egg to the 2 egg whites. That's just so I can get in some good healthy fats and some healthy cholesterol. And I'm going to be topping my eggs with salsa, salt, and some nutritional yeast seasoning. Nutritional yeast has a very cheesy flavor, and it's got a lot of B vitamins in it, so it's quite good for you. Then, onto the protein shake. You can use whichever protein you like. These are the 3 that I go in between. My favorite is the Bluebonnet Whey Isolate. I like the flavor. I like that it's from grass-fed cows, and I like the just nutritional profile of it. You're going to need some almond extract, raw pistachios or unsalted pistachios. I order mine from Amazon. Some salt. I like the Celtic sea salt. And some unsweetened milk. I use cashew milk. And the green food coloring is optional. That's just to make it pretty. Then I have some coconut whipped topping. get that in the freezer section of my local grocery store, Publix. First, you'll need to put your stove top to low to medium low, and that is to roast the pistachios. If yours are already roasted, you can obviously skip this step. You'll know they're ready when you start to smell them. About 8 ounces of cashew milk, 1 scoop of bluebonnet whey isolate, several drops of almond extract, pinch of salt, drop of green food coloring, just to make it pretty. Then you're going to divide the roasted pistachios into 2 piles. One pile you'll add to the shake, and the next pile you'll need to chop up into tiny pieces. Blend the shake all together. I start out on a low setting and move it up to the highest setting eventually. Very creamy and delicious. All right. Then you could, of course, blend your ice into it, but I prefer to have it over ice instead. It will be a lot thicker if you blend the ice into it. Top it with the coconut whipped cream. It doesn't taste like coconut, it tastes like vanilla, but it's made from coconut milk. And I really like it. Alright, then add the chopped pistachios to the top. And there you go, you have your delicious pistachio protein shake. Can't say that it tastes like a milkshake, but it does taste really good and pretty close. And I like to have it with my breakfast. I normally make my lunches on Saturday or Sunday, and I cook whatever meat I'm going to use. I cook enough for the whole week so that I can have my lunches already made for the weekdays. And this time I'm making chicken taco meat, which is also good in salad, or I can whip up a quick chicken tortilla soup with it, or tacos. First you boil the chicken. Then you'll need to shred and chop the chicken. And then I add this enchilada sauce. I like the flavor of it. And the ingredients aren't too terrible. Homemade would be better, of course, but this one is not spicy at all. If you wanted to add some spice to it, I would suggest throwing in some cayenne pepper. Then I'll top it onto some corn tortillas. Normally I like to go to the flea market and I'll get some homemade corn tortillas from my favorite abuela, but I wasn't able to do that. So I got these from the store. I'll top it with some raw chopped onion and some cilantro. And a little bit of the nutritional yeast seasoning for that cheese flavor. You can see the vitamins has a good amount of fiber and protein as well. And I served it with some raw broccoli slaw, some fresh cherry tomatoes. The dressing that I have on the broccoli slaw is this Bolt House dressing in the flavor cilantro avocado. And it's made with yogurt. I really like this dressing. I don't put a lot of it because really the vegetables, they taste pretty good on their own, but I just really like that dressing. I think it's the cilantro. A couple of squeezes of fresh lime onto each taco, and it's quite delicious. I decided to have some coffee with my lunch, and normally I would do, I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine, so normally I would do maybe half decaf and half regular, but I'm trying to use up the rest of that coffee because I got it at Christmas time. So I got this mug at Target, and if you'll just watch the dinosaurs, they do something really cool. They do that when the mug heats up. I also have another one with, it's got a bunch of people swimming in an ocean, and when it heats up, you see a bunch of sharks swimming in the water with them. I like these mugs. There he goes. And now the dinosaurs are all extinct and my coffee is ready. I always add a packet of stevia to it and some cashew milk, just a splash. And I'm good to go with my coffee. I don't normally finish the whole cup, but I really like the taste of coffee and the smell, so. For dinner, I made this Korean meal that I make pretty often. And I got the meat, the steak, at a local farm called organicchef.com. They ship all over Florida, and if you buy it in like a bulk package that they offer, then you save quite a bit of money and the shipping is free. So that's where I get almost all my meat. It's just better quality and I like it. First, you'll need to wash the rice several times, probably about 10 to 15 times until the water comes out clear. I'll be cooking this rice in a rice cooker, but you could cook it on the stove if you wanted to. This pork belly I got from a Korean market in Atlanta, Georgia, when I went there on Halloween. I've had it in my freezer and I needed to use it up. I like to cook the pork belly in the oven. I know that you can cook it at your table, but just for cleaning purposes, I like to cook it in the oven. And the price on that steak is not the price that I paid, because I bought it in like a package deal, so I got it heavily discounted. And it comes with 2 pretty large steaks, and I only used one of them, and I put the other one back in the freezer. These are Korean dried anchovies that I also got from the Korean market in Atlanta. I bought a couple large bags. There's the ingredients to cook this. You put all the ingredients in the pan and simmer it until the liquid is evaporated. And you have sort of a shiny, sticky anchovy side dish, because the brown sugar will kind of caramelize the anchovies. It's really good. It sounds weird, but it's really good. There's the pork belly and steak all finished. I don't put any seasoning on it except for a little bit of salt, because I like the taste of it just as is. Very flavorful all on its own. I'm serving it with some kimchi, fresh green onion, fresh pear, and tangerine, anchovies. This butter lettuce will be for sort of like lettuce wrap things, fresh vegetables, and the white rice. Oh, and of course, the red sauce is a Korean chili sauce. And the brown, I can put links for these ingredients below if you would like. Piece of steak or pork, bite of rice, a little bit of sauce, you can order this sauce off of Amazon, I believe. A little bit of green onion, wrap it all up, and that's how you eat this dish. Okay, thank you for watching.